We are in Parashat Chayei, and we're going to be learning from the teachings of the Ben Ish Chai. And this parasha is so full of information and so much amazing teachings, it's almost hard to decide what to teach. But I've decided to talk about one thing that is a little bit more familiar to most of us, because every month when we celebrate Rosh Chodesh, after we praise Hashem with a prayer called Hallel, then we say a verse. ואברהם זקן בא בימים והשם ברך את אברהם בכל. Avraham was old and advanced in days. But we repeat that, and we learn it in this week's parasha. And of course, needless to say, that whatever our forefather Avraham did, even though the parasha is talking about Chayei Sarah, but Avraham is a big piece of Sarah. Even though in the beginning she dies in the parasha, and then the rest of the parasha is not even about Sarah. But nevertheless, this is a verse that we read often, and we can take a lot from it. So this verse can be found in our parasha, in chapter 24, verse 1. And again, the verse goes, V'Avraham zaken ba bayamim, and Avraham was old, advanced in days, and Hashem blessed Avraham with everything, bakol. And it says something very interesting. The Arizal, Rabbi Alon Anava says in a book, in one of the Sha'arim, in Sha'ar HaKavanot, he says that why do we take the Torah out on Monday and Tuesday? I mean, there are many other reasons why that, but the Arizal says there's a reason why we take the Sefer Torah out on Monday and Tuesday and Thursday. And it says as follows, Shetiken Ezra liYisrael, Ezra Sofer added it to our daily schedule, Shayu korim b'Torah b'sheni v'chamishi, that we should read from the Torah on a Monday and a Thursday. Okay. And there are many other reasons for that. We're just going to focus right now what the Arizal says. And then he quotes a place in the Talmud in Tractate Baba Kama, page 82a, and he says the reason for that, why do we read the Torah on Monday and Thursdays? כי ביום שני וחמישי שולטת היצירה בעולם. On a Monday and a Thursday, the power of formation controls the world. ולכן טוב לעסוק בתורה בימים אלו. Therefore, it's good to be as much as involved with Torah in these days. עד כאן דבריו. This is what the Arizal says in Sha'ar HaKavanot, and if you want to look it up more in depth, this is in Drush that is called Sefer Torah, page 48. Then he says as follows, Od, katuv sham, it says also, he adds another reference, page 61b, in a Drush called Vayi Noam, and again, just giving references that you can find it yourself if you want to read about it. שביום שני וחמישי טוב לעסוק בחלק הדיבור בתורה. That on Monday and Thursday it's good to be busy with the speaking part of the Torah, because there are many other parts of the Torah. It's called the speaking part of the Torah. And he says, Ayen Sham, go there, read it in depth, it will clarify a few more things. That's where he's taking now a verse from the book of Tehillim. This can be found in chapter 139, verse 16. And he quotes a verse, says, Yamim yutzaru velo echad bahem. They have been formed, and one of them is his. Now in English, I told you many times, words don't make much sense when you read Torah in English. In Hebrew, again, Yamim yutzaru velo echad mehem. Now he says something interesting. The karin and lo bevav. We read the word lo with a vav, velo. Of course, it means lo to him, not lo no. No means you write it lamed aleph. Him is lamed vav, but we write it vav lamed vav. We read it with a vav. What is he explaining? Why vav? Hu zman haraui leshena, 6 sha'ot bechol layla. According to the Ari, that's the amount of time one needs to sleep every night, 6 hours. And how did he get to 6 hours? Because the vav, numerical value is 6, and he says that is the perfect time for a person to sleep every night. Veken hu minhag chasidim harishonim, and many people, what they used to do, they used to sleep in the first part of the night, and they would wake up in midnight, in chatzot. And from that point, they would learn Torah the whole night. And midnight, it kind of moves. I'm not talking about 12 a.m. I'm talking about midnight, chatzot hayom. which moves around. It can be 12:15, it can be 12:45. But from that point, we'll stay up and learn all night. And of course learn till dawn. And where do we learn that from? Where did they take this custom from? Book of Tehillim, chapter 119, verse 62, Chatzot laila akum leodot lach. At midnight, I rise to give thanks to you. So this is a very good custom. If a person can do it, is go to sleep early, wake up at midnight, say Tikkun Chatzot, and then learn Torah all night. Aval, bayom einam yishenim klal. But very important, not to sleep throughout the day. And I know many people will tell me, well, you're taking now my rest in the afternoon, my Schlafstunde, and for sleeping from 2 to 4. But let's first see what the Ari says, then we'll summarize it all. But lo yishenim klal bayom, but then they don't sleep at all. Why? Ela lomdim kol hayom kulo. You should learn the whole day. And it says, when we want to apply that, first of all, everything that one of our sages will say has to be backed up with any type of verse. Nobody can come and just say something. And if somebody comes and say, when I'm saying somebody, it can be a great sage and so forth. When they come to present something, is where are you bringing it from? What are you backing? What's your backup here? So it says, listen, I didn't invent that. It says in the book of Yeshua, chapter 1, verse 8, Vehagita bo yomam v'layla. That's what it says in the Torah. It says, B'sefer HaTorah hazeh, and this Torah book, you shall meditate therein day and night. It means you have to learn day and night. Now, interestingly, he says something very interesting. Lo amar yom v'layla. It doesn't say V'agita bo yom v'layla. It says yomam v'layla. Why not yom? You should be meditating on it. In English, of course, that doesn't make sense. Day and night. In Hebrew, it doesn't say day. It says yomam. It's a different word. Why? Because the day is cut into 2 halves. As it's known. Now you take the day, you cut it in half, and a person has to learn Torah in both halves of the day. And since there are 2 parts, so Yeshua called them yomam. Yom is 1, yomam 2. Yan ki yomam mashma al train. The fact that he said yomam, we understand that he's talking about 2 days, 2 parts of the days. Because one can say, the 2 days you're saying. No, the 2 parts of the day. Aval balayla ino mechuyav lilmod Torah. But it says in night you don't have to learn Torah. Ela rak b'chatzi hasheni shel halayla shenikra layla. Only in the second part of the half that is called layla. Velo b'chatzi harishon. And not in the first part that is called leil. So from the stars going out till midnight, it's called leil. It's not called layla. And for that, you're not obligated in learning Torah. And some even say better not to learn even Torah in that time. But from midnight, that's called layla. Then you're allowed to and have to learn. So when it says Vehagita bo yomam v'layla, and just to remind you, this is Yeshua saying. He holds it as a Sefer Torah, Ve'sefer HaTorah hazeh, this Sefer Torah, Vehagita bo yomam v'layla. Lo yamush Sefer HaTorah hazeh mipicha. I mean, the words of the Torah, you should not even for 1 second stop talking Torah, and you should learn it yomam v'layla. 2 parts of the day and layla. It doesn't say leil, rather it says layla. זה שאמר והגית בו יומם, and when he says והגית בו יומם, 2 days, היינו 2 חצאים של יום, the 2 parts of the day. ולילה הוא החצי השני, the second part of the night. I mean, how do you call the first part? You call it ליל, like ליל Shabbat, ליל חג, and so forth. But the לילה, that's the night. ולא בחצי הראשון הנקרא ליל, one should not learn Torah then, rather to learn Torah in the next part. נמצא אתה במ"ח שעות של יום שני וחמישי. Now, let's go back to what we were talking about in the beginning. That we find that how many hours do we have in the 2 days of Monday and Thursday? 48 hours, right? You don't have to make a quick calculation here. 24 hours on Monday, 24 hours on Thursday. Why Monday and Thursday? Because Ari says the power of formation is in control in the universe those 2 days. Now, im totzi mehem lamed vav. Take out from them 36 hours. Why? Why 36 hours? La'asek haTorah va'avodah. Then you have to be busy with the Torah and avodah. Avodah means to pray. יישאר י"ב שעות לשינה בשני הלילות. What does it leave you? 12 hours to sleep in both nights. So from 48 hours, you have 36 hours to לעסוק בתורה, to be busy with Torah, with that including prayers, which leaves you 12 hours to sleep, 6 on Monday, 6 on Thursday. וזה שאמר ימים יוצרו, and when it says in the book of Tehillim, if you remember the first chapter we were referring to, Kuflametet 149, it says yamim yutzaru, days have formed, right? What does it mean? Shnei yamim b'shavua, 2 days in the week, sholetet behem hayetzira. Those 2 days in the week, the Monday and the Thursday, the power of formation is in control. And that's why it says yutzaru. What do you mean yutzaru? This is referring to the world of Yetzirah, the world of formation. וכמה שעות צריך באלו השני הימים לעסוק בהם בתורה? So how many hours a day do I have to learn Torah and be busy with Torah on those 2 days? So he says, ולא אחד בהם. Remember the verse in Kuf Yutet? So in the book of Tehillim, Kuf Yutet, it says, in Kuf Lametet 139, it says, ולא אחד בהם. Why does it say velo echad bahem? Saying in other words, the lamed vav, the law of lamed vav is 36 hours. Yeh echad bahem. That the whole 36 hours will be one of learning Torah. Why echad? Why are they using the word echad? Remez ilmod Torah shi reshut hayechid. When you're learning Torah, you're learning the Torah of the one and only, the master of the universe. And that is also called Yereshut HaYechid, the private domain, which is the domain, of course, of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. וגם רמוזה באות א' שמספרו אחד, and the letter Aleph is hinting to us to the numerical value of 1, which is, of course, referring to the master of the universe. Now we can explain a verse that can be found in the book of Mishlei, in the book of Proverbs, chapter 8, where it says, אשרי אדם שומע לי, לשקוד על דלתותיי יום יום. לשמור מזוזות פתחי. Happy or fortunate is the man who listens to me to watch by my doorsteps day by day. Why is he quoting this verse? Yom yom. Yom is 1 day. Yom is 1 day, right? Yom yom. This is, what are these yom yom, day? Monday and Thursday. Now we can understand what the Torah says in a form of a parable, of course. Im ta'azveni yom, yomayim ezveka. If you leave me for 1 day, I will leave you for 2 days. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu says. This is said in the Midrash. She says, you leave me for 1 day, I'll leave you 2 days. Which sounds pretty harsh. What, I'm going to leave Hashem for 1 day, I'm getting a punishment, double the portion? And it says as follows, Im ta'azveni yom echad miyuchad b'shavua. If you're going to leave me on that special day of the week, Monday or Thursday, that special day, which is Shabbat, meaning you desecrate Shabbat or you don't fulfill the mitzvot of Shabbat, shenitan li Israel, that is given to you. Why is Shabbat giving to us? To eat shunt? No. Bishvil asok b'Torah, to eat, to learn Torah. Shabbat, you don't have excuses, because there's no Facebook, and there's no anything else. You sit and learn Torah on Shabbat. That's what you do. Shabbat was given to us mainly to learn Torah. Now, if you don't do that on Shabbat, if you will not focus on Shabbat to learn Torah, meaning you're going to let go of me, Yomayim ezveka, means that Monday and Tuesday, that the time that the power of formation is in control, az mitzidam yura asok l'Torah, ezveka. Then those 2 days, you're not going to be so focused on Torah and mitzvot. Which means that when you are focused on Torah, learning Torah and mitzvot on Shabbat, first of all, the entire next week is blessed. More than that, the 2 powerful days that you should be really focusing on Torah, then that's what it says. You leave me for 1 day, 2 days, I would leave you. Ezveka, what does that mean? I'm going to leave you. Lo ashpia lecha shefa bracha vechokma. I will not be able to give you this abundance of wisdom and blessing. שתוכל בשני ימים אלו להשיג בחוכמת התורה. That in these 2 days, Monday and Thursday, you much easier will grasp and acquire the wisdom of the Torah. So with that said, Now, first of all, we can understand the verse when it says V'Avraham Zaken. Zaken, of course, the translation is old. But also Zaken means a person who's very, very wise. But when it says in the Talmud, in Tractate Kiddushin, chapter 32, it says Zaken Shekana Chochma. He acquired wisdom. How did he acquire? Sit and learn. That's exactly what we learned 2 classes ago with the laws of Tshuva with Rambam, with Maimonides. What does the Rambam say? That what forms the shape of the soul? It's unbelievable. That's what we learned 2 hours ago. What forms the shape of the soul is how much da'ah, how much knowledge you acquire in this world. Which means that the shape of our soul comes out in a form that we can't even imagine in our own imagination, but how much Torah you acquired in this world according to your capacity, that's what forms the shape of the soul in the world above. Can you imagine how we recognize each other in the world above? We don't see each other how we see each other here. Rather, we see each other's Torah. And I more imagine it that looks like these balls of light. It doesn't have a shape, eyes, hands, and it's just, of course, more of a level of perception. But the more the person acquires Torah, the more knowledge he has, that's what forms his neshama, his soul. So when it says about Avraham Avinu, Zaken, yeah, okay, so he was also not so young in age. But when it goes, the word Zaken means that he acquired wisdom. Now, we have, the verse continues, it says, V'Avraham Zaken, so we're focusing on Avraham, he was Zaken, he acquired wisdom. Then it says, Ba Bayamim, came with days, right? That's how I translate it. The translation that you will find means advanced in days. Let's see what the Ben Ish Chai says. Ba Bayamim, take the word Yamim, Bayamim, take the letter Bet out, right? So it's Bet Yamim, 2 days. What are these 2 days? Monday and Thursday. Avraham Zaken, Bet Yamim. He came with those 2 days. Asher halimud shel Torah mesugal bem la'asagat ha'chokhmah. That learning Torah on Monday and Thursday gives you the advantage of receiving or acquiring chokhmah, the wisdom of the Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'az, now what's going to be the result? Hashem berach et Avraham b'kol. So with that, Hashem was able to bless Avraham with everything, 100%. Saying in other words, Bekol hayamim shel hashavua, with all the days of the week. So Avraham Avinu really observed Shabbat. Monday and Thursday, that was the day of the yeshiva. The rest maybe dealing with business. And those 2 days filled the rest of the week. Bekol hayamim shel hashavua. Velo b'sheni v'chamishi bilvad. And not only Monday and Thursday per se. Now what are we going to take from that? First of all, and most important, is the power of what it means to learn Torah. Now I'm not expecting any individual on Monday and Thursday to learn 36 hours Torah and sleep for 6 hours every day. But if you want to already go on a path of righteousness, then yes, you can start thinking, how can I at least take some of it? So instead of wasting my night, then you go to sleep earlier. You don't have to be on Facebook for 3 hours. It's the same thing. Biden and Trump, same junk. I don't see much more. This and all the rest of the opening flowers with glitter and a cat popping out and saying Shavua Tov and some. Come on, I mean, so narrow it down from 3 hours. You're all laughing because you know what I'm talking about. Now comes the question: is how do I know about that? That's also a question. People, how do you know what's going on Facebook? So I have many spies that are telling me what's going on there. But nevertheless, the point is, value your time. That I know it sounds a little bit more old school and not so easy in our day of age, but now it's especially in the winter. I mean, it's dark already at 5. Go to sleep earlier, wake up earlier. You know what it means to wake up in the morning? Okay, don't wake up at midnight. Wake up at 3 and learn from 3 to 6. Oh, what type of learning you get in the middle of the night? No distractions, fresh air, especially when you're here in Tzfat. Your mind opens. and you start your day early. Now, listen, Bemet, with all jokes aside, I'm not expecting anybody to sit all day long and learn Torah. But he said a few very valuable things here. To learn Torah in the 2 parts of the day, which means early in the morning and the end part of the day. So you have to find time. This is called Likvo Itim LaTorah. At the end of the day, with all jokes aside, from what I take from here is that Avraham Avinu Kava Itim LaTorah. He set time to learn Torah, Monday and Thursday. And because he did it in such a powerful way, that on Shabbat he learned Torah. Most people don't learn Torah on Shabbat. They go to sleep or walk around. And there's nothing bad with walking around, spending time with the kids, eating. But minimum, listen, if you're learning throughout the week 2 hours Torah, then on Shabbat you have to learn 4 hours. Can't let the Shabbat pass without learning Torah. And if you can't do it by yourself, then go to a class. You can't do it with a class, find the chavruta. You have to set time on Shabbat. Now, when you're doing it in a very profound way on Shabbat, then by default, the Kadosh Baruch Hu allows you and gives you the opportunity and the capacity to do it on Monday and Thursday. Do that the right way. V'Hashem berachet Avraham bakol. And Hashem blessed Avraham with everything. Bakol means all the days of the week. So at least, when you want to take at least one thing, I will take at least 3 messages from this short discourse. First of all, and most important, is divide your day in a way that you can learn Torah in the 2 parts of the day and the 3rd part, which is called Laila. How you're going to do it, your problem. You figure it out. Either you wake up early, wake up at 5, wake up at 4, but you can make your day different. Really, there's nothing really much, unless you work at night, there's nothing much to do at night. And then, at night, all these ma'ishin, bishin, all this junk comes out to the world, and then you get stuck in front of a screen, every person in their area of interest, and then you find yourself 2 o'clock in the morning, like this, and the night is wasted. So make yourself a good habit. That's first of all. Second of all, important to set a time on Shabbat that you learn Torah in a very serious way, not just reading 3 chapters of Tehillim. And then, of course, taking the time that Monday and Thursday, a lot of people it's hard for them. I understand, not so easy always to find a minyan, or some people who live far away and they can't pray in a minyan, but cherish Monday and Thursday that Torah comes out. That even, one of the many explanations is why the Torah comes out on Monday and on Thursday. The Arizal says, okay, the power of formation, koach yetzirah. But some of our sages say, because even Amei Haaretz, the people who don't know how to read the Torah, don't know anything, so at least they have twice a day in the week that they can come and listen to the Torah a little bit. Listen to the Torah, be in a minyan, answer a few amenim, and so forth. But mainly what you want to take from that is how important it is to find set times to learn Torah. And you want to do it specifically on Shabbat, and now he's giving us an addition, Monday and Thursday. Of course, you want to do it every day. But take these 2 days. Why? Why did he say that? Because he said, דאז גם מצדם ראויים לעסוק בתורה, ולא אשפיע שבחוכמה וחוכמה, שתוכל בשני הימים אלו להשיג בחוכמת התורה. That these 2 days, it's much more easier to grasp the wisdom of the Torah. So whatever seder you have, say Monday and Thursday, add another half an hour that you learn Torah. And the bottom line is that what it all boils down to is how much Torah you learn. Doesn't matter who you are. You don't have to be a Rav Kanievsky or a great sage. You need to be you and still learn Torah. And especially, alachat kama v'kama, so much more so in our times, when the world is completely unstable. Mashiach is about to come any minute with a storm. People are living their life in some gullible way. Everything will be great. Well, of course everything will be great because Mashiach is coming, but it's going to come with a turbulence. Now more than ever is the only thing that's going to hold us is Torah. Listen, let's cut to the chase. We all sin from morning to night. You, me, and everybody else. But if let's hold the Torah. ואתם הדבקים בהשם אלוקיכם חיים כולכם היום. The ones that you are holding to Hashem, cleaving to Hashem, will survive. How do you hold on to Hashem? You learn His Torah. You follow His mitzvot. How can you follow mitzvot if you don't learn the Torah? Because I tell you to put tefillin on. But you need to learn how to put the tefillin on. And when and who and what. So how do you do mitzvot? Well, you have to learn Torah. Learning Torah is not only learning the mystical part and wow and all these great revelations. Learn halakha, you have to learn the halakha. Ha'ma'aseh asher yasun. Most people don't even know what to do. Most people, they don't know halakha. They have a beard, they have a yarmulke, the whole gear, learning Kabbalah from morning to night, but basic halakha. So now he's telling you, set times to learn the revealed part, the oral part of the Torah, that you yourself, you don't have to ask me or a rabbi or your rabbi, do I do this, do I do that? Learn it yourself. That's when the learning is yours, because you toiled in it, you went through the halakha again and again and again, and you memorized it. And you don't have to learn a lot, you have to learn in a point that it becomes part of you, that you know what to do. The other day somebody asked me, the person that I spoke to, there's a doubt if the person is Jewish or not, and the recommendation from the Beit Din was maybe to do again, to do a giyur, or to do a conversion, just to be sure. And so the person asked me, listen, I know there's a safek, there's a doubt, and I understand, I accept it to do the conversion. But if I'm on the doubt, and let's say I'm not Jewish, so I'm not allowed to observe Shabbat, right? What do I do here? I understand. If let's say the doubt 50-50, so 50% I'm Jewish, I have no problem. If I'm going by the doubt and I'm not Jewish, I'm not allowed to observe Shabbat. A Gentile that observes Shabbat chayav mitah, is obligated in death. What do I do? So I told him, okay, so make do one thing, observe the Shabbat 99%, and do one thing that, you turn the light once. What am I going to tell you? But I told him, but don't worry. You have nothing to worry about. Neither one of us observe Shabbats to the fullest. You have nothing to worry about. Jew or not Jew. And not to put chas v'shalom anybody in the spot, but we don't really observe Shabbat 100%. We do our best. Okay, we don't drive, we don't turn on the lights, but when you really go into the depth of the halakha, what are you talking about? We desecrate Shabbat day and night without even noticing. When I became observant, I said like this. I wouldn't do nothing. Someone would tell me, but you're allowed to do it. And of course I came a little bit, I got more relaxed. So for a few years I thought that I'm observing Shabbat. Till when I reached to the part in Shulchan Aruch that is all about Shabbat, and I'm like, I'm light years away. When you start looking at all the little details in bishul, in cooking, in sifting, mixing, so don't worry, we're not observing Shabbat 100%. That's why we would never redeem. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says that if we would observe Shabbat, miyad nigalim, right? Right away we get to redeem. So the bad news is that for the last 3,331 years, we never observed Shabbat as a nation, because we would be redeemed. So we're doing our best. But at least the minimum, I sometimes see people that 20 years they're observant, I see what they're doing on Shabbat. I'm like, where do you come up with that? No, so-and-so said it's okay. Who's so-and-so? Open the book, you don't know how to do such a thing. And if you don't know, so read, learn. So what we want to take from that, because really what our sages teach us is, what do you take home from what you learn? To learn the depth of the Torah, mysticism, midrashim, stories, history, it's all beautiful. But what do you take away? You need to apply something. The action is what counts. So the action is that we have to understand that we have to set times, each and every one of us. Doesn't matter how busy you are, not busy, unemployed, super employed. You have to find time to learn Torah. And you have to make sure that you're segregating yourself from everything, eliminating distractions, and mainly learning the revealed part of the Torah, the laws, that I know what to do. That I don't have to be dependent on others, and I don't have to worry, what bracha do I say on this? Is this adama or is this etz? And it's sometimes basic things that people just make simple mistakes, and that's really where Hashem is looking, is how close you are to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, when you don't have doubts. Just the other day we were eating here, somebody ate a cracker, and he said, how many crackers do I need to eat to have enough of quantity to say the after bracha? Which is very impressive, because most people don't even know that they have to have a certain minimum of how much grams of wheat to say the bracha. And there was another person standing and saying, what? I never heard of that. And I didn't want to embarrass him by telling him, I never heard you saying a bracha achona. What do you mean you never heard of that? I never heard you saying the after bracha. And again, not chas v'shalom trying to insult anybody or to offend anybody, but we want to be close to Hashem. It doesn't matter how long my beard is. This is not how Hashem measures my religious level. Hashem is not looking at my costume. Hashem is looking at the tachlis, the bottom line. And I want to be close to Hashem because the storm is coming. Whether you want to agree with me or not, it's irrelevant. But the storm is coming. It has to be a storm because if the redemption is coming, there's no such a thing in history that a redemption came without a storm prior to that. And a storm can be physical and spiritual. Either way you're looking at it, cannot be a rebirth of a new reality without the destruction of the old reality. Call it however you want. That the world will have to come to some type of a destruction. Mashiach cannot control the world if there's other governments. Mashiach cannot control the world before he defeats evil. So it has to be some type of a destruction, and it's not going to be so pleasant to see. And people have to stop being so gullible. It's going to come, don't worry. But you have to fasten your seatbelt and not to worry about anything. Why? Because the Torah tells you clear. If you're holding on to Hashem, you have nothing to worry about. Kadosh Baruch Hu has an issue to differentiate between good and bad. David HaMelech says clearly, Pol mitzidcha elef uvava miminecha, elecha lo yigash. 1,000 will fall from here, 10,000 will fall from here, nothing's going to come to you. You're just going to go through everything. Gam gelech begetz al mavet lo yirara. Even if I walk in the valley of shadow of death, why should I fear? Atay madi, you with me. But you have to be with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm not telling you to be now the most pious individual in the generation, but the minimum of the minimum. Kadosh Baruch Hu tells you, set time to learn Torah. Minimum of the minimum, and the minimum is a lot, by the way, not 2 minutes. Listen, we also have WhatsApp groups and all that stuff, and we project, or whatever, post, 2 halachot a day. What's 2 halachot a day? It's better for nothing. But what's 2 halachot a day? Maybe 2 pages a day. So with that said, when we're seeing that Abraham, Baba Yamim, first of all, Zaken, he acquired Chokhmah. He acquired with him wisdom, which is the Sachar for Olam Haba. But more than that, Baba Yamim, Bet Yamim. 2 days, he came with the power of these 2 days. Thursday, Monday and Thursday. And why was he able to do that? Because on Shabbat, he observed Shabbat the right way. So take yourself accustomed and start learning laws of Shabbat every day. Learn 5 halachot every day of Shabbat. By the time Shabbat comes, you will see that you will have to apply these halachot. And it's mind-blowing, all these little halachot that most people are like, I never heard of that. And you know how many things you're allowed to do on Shabbat and you don't even know that you're allowed to do them? And how many things you're not allowed to do? And people fail in them miserably? Don't you? You're already observing Shabbat. You're already doing the whole thing. You already love Hashem. To do it the right way. And with that, Hashem berachat Avraham bakol. And Hashem will bless you bakol. Bakol means with everything. But all the days will be blessed. And the ultimate blessing is that we should see with our own eyes the coming of Mashiach and be included in the redemption in a peaceful way, full of love and kindness, and see with our own eyes the whole episode, this whole production that the Kadosh Baruch Hu is about to bring. But we should see it with our own eyes and be part of it. And that can only happen if we are part of the Torah, part of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and holding on to Hashem like as if there's nothing else. And that can only be done when I dedicate myself to the Torah fully, from morning to night, Sunday to Sunday, and holding on to Hashem like I'm holding on to my life. And B'ezrat Hashem, then you'll be blessed, bakol mikol kol, with everything. Hashem will pour on you a blessing of everything that your heart desires, more than you can handle. But the ultimate blessing really is that we should see very soon the coming of Mashiach and be part of it, and that Hashem should have mercy on the entire world and bring it as easy as possible so we can all be included in it and reap the rewards of all the hard work that we had in the last few thousand years. B'ezrat Hashem.